My beloved child, there is a reason you found this message today. There is a reason these words are reaching you at this exact moment. What you are about to hear is not something ordinary. It began with a simple conversation. A conversation that was never supposed to become important. A conversation that started quietly but ended with something that no one expected. And somehow, your name became the center of it all. Before we go further, do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Picture this for a moment. A family gathering. Familiar voices. Everyday discussions. Nothing unusual. Nothing dramatic. Just people sharing thoughts, memories, and opinions. Yet in the middle of that ordinary moment, your name appeared unexpectedly. At first, it was mentioned only briefly. A simple reference. A passing comment. But then something changed. The room became quieter. The conversation became deeper. And suddenly, everyone wanted to talk about you. Now you may be wondering why. What made your name stand out? What caused so many people to focus on you at once? The answer is more surprising than you can imagine. Because what they discovered was not what they expected to find. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. One person spoke first. They remembered something about you that others had forgotten. It was not a major event. It was not a grand achievement. It was a small moment from the past. Yet when they shared it, everyone stopped and listened. They remembered the way you treated people when nobody was watching. They remembered the kindness you showed when there was nothing to gain. They remembered how you remained yourself even during difficult moments. And suddenly the conversation shifted. What started as a casual discussion became something much bigger. Another voice joined in. Then another. Then another. Each person had a story. Each person had a memory. Each person had noticed something unique about you. The surprising part was that none of them knew the others were thinking the same thing. For years, these observations remained separate. Hidden. Unspoken. But on that day, everything came together. And when it did, a picture began to form. A picture of who you truly are. A picture that even you may not fully see yet. Do not skip. Because the next part changes everything. As the conversation continued, someone asked a simple question. What makes this person different? For a moment, nobody answered. The silence itself was meaningful. Then one person smiled. Another nodded. And finally someone spoke the words that changed the atmosphere completely. They said, the difference is that they never realize how much impact they have. The room became still. Because everyone knew it was true. You see, there are people who spend their lives trying to impress others. They work hard to be noticed. They want recognition. They want attention. But according to this conversation, your greatest influence happens when you are not even trying. That was the unexpected revelation. The stories kept coming. One remembered encouragement you gave years ago. Another remembered support during a difficult season. Someone else remembered a conversation that lasted only a few minutes but stayed in their heart for a very long time. You may not even remember these moments yourself. Yet other people do. That is what surprised everyone. The realization that your presence has left marks in places you cannot see. The realization that your story has touched lives you never expected. And the most shocking part? The family members speaking about you were not trying to praise you. They were simply sharing honest observations. That is why their words carried so much weight. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The discussion moved in a new direction. Someone asked another question. If this is true, then why does this person still doubt themselves sometimes? Nobody had an immediate answer. Because the question was powerful. How could someone who impacts others so deeply fail to see their own value? How could someone who inspires others still wonder if they are enough? The room fell silent once again. And then an older voice finally spoke. The wisdom in those words changed everything. They said, sometimes the brightest light never sees itself because it spends all its time shining outward. The moment those words were spoken, everyone understood. And perhaps you understand too. Perhaps there have been moments when you questioned your path. Moments when you wondered if your efforts mattered. Moments when you felt unseen. But according to this remarkable conversation, there are people who have noticed far more than you realize. People who remember. People who appreciate. People who quietly respect you. Even if they never say it directly. Do not skip. Because what happened next was even more unexpected. The conversation turned toward the future. And that is where things became truly fascinating. Instead of talking about what you had already done, they began talking about what they believed was still ahead of you. One by one, they shared their thoughts. Not predictions. Not fantasies. Simply observations based on everything they had seen. And surprisingly, many of them reached the same conclusion. They believed you were standing closer to an important chapter than you realize. Closer to a meaningful opportunity. Closer to a powerful breakthrough. Closer to a moment that could change the direction of your story. Nobody knew exactly when. Nobody knew exactly how. Yet the confidence in the room was undeniable. The conversation that began casually had transformed completely. Your name had become the center of hope. The center of possibility. The center of expectation. And the most unexpected revelation of all was this. Many people see potential in you that you have not fully discovered yourself. Let that sink in. Because this realization is only the beginning. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The conversation was far from over. In fact, what happened next would leave everyone thinking long after the gathering ended. And that is exactly where this story continues. A remarkable realization emerged as the conversation continued. What happened next was something nobody expected. The family members who had been sharing memories about you suddenly noticed a pattern. It was not planned. It was not rehearsed. Yet every story seemed connected by one powerful truth. You appeared in moments when people needed encouragement. You appeared in moments when people needed hope. You appeared in moments when people were searching for strength. And the more they talked, the clearer this pattern became. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One person shared a story that had never been told before. Years ago, during a difficult season in their life, they almost gave up on an important dream. They felt uncertain. They felt lost. Then they remembered something you had said. Just one sentence. A sentence so simple that you may not even remember speaking it. Yet that sentence stayed with them. It gave them courage. It gave them confidence. It helped them keep moving forward. When they finished speaking, everyone in the room became quiet. Because they realized that your influence had reached farther than anyone imagined. Then another person shared something surprising. They admitted that whenever they thought about persistence, your name came to mind. Not because you were perfect. Not because life had always been easy for you. But because you kept moving forward even when circumstances were uncertain. That observation sparked an entirely new discussion. Suddenly, everyone wanted to answer the same question. What makes people trust you? What makes people remember you? What makes your presence stay in their minds long after you leave the room? The answers were unexpected. Some said it was your sincerity. Others said it was your consistency. Others believed it was your ability to remain genuine regardless of the situation. But then someone shared a revelation that changed everything. They said, "People remember how they feel around this person." The room became silent again. Because everyone agreed. And that realization carried incredible meaning. Many people are remembered for what they own. Some are remembered for what they achieve. Others are remembered for what they say. But according to this family conversation, you are remembered for how people feel when they are around you. Think about that. Because it is more powerful than it appears. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Do not skip. The discussion moved even deeper. At this point, everyone was paying close attention. Nobody wanted to leave. Nobody wanted to interrupt. The conversation had become too important. Then one family member asked a question that nobody saw coming. What if this person has no idea how many people believe in them? The room immediately filled with thoughtful expressions. Because the answer was obvious. You probably do not know. You probably do not realize how many people quietly hope for your success. How many people celebrate your progress? How many people smile when they hear good news about you? The family members began listing examples. Names. Moments. Stories. Connections. The list seemed endless. And with every new example, the same conclusion became stronger. You are having a bigger impact than you think. You are making a bigger difference than you realize. You are creating a stronger impression than you can see. And that realization surprised everyone. Because sometimes the most meaningful influence is invisible. Sometimes the greatest impact happens quietly. Sometimes the strongest legacy is built one small moment at a time. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then the conversation took an even more unexpected turn. Instead of discussing your past or your present, they started talking about possibilities. Possibilities that nobody had considered before. One person spoke first. "I think something important is getting closer." Another agreed. A third person nodded. Soon, almost everyone shared the same feeling. Not because they had secret information. Not because they could predict the future. But because they had watched your journey. They had seen your growth. They had witnessed your determination. And based on everything they knew, they felt that an important chapter was approaching. A chapter filled with opportunity. A chapter filled with new connections. A chapter filled with unexpected blessings. The atmosphere changed instantly. Excitement filled the room. Curiosity filled the room. Expectation filled the room. The conversation was no longer about who you had been. It was becoming about who you were capable of becoming. And that made all the difference. One family member smiled and said something unforgettable. They said, "The most exciting part of this story hasn't happened yet." The moment those words were spoken, everyone felt it. Because deep inside, they believed it was true. Maybe that message is for you as well. Maybe your greatest chapter is not behind you. Maybe your most meaningful opportunity is not behind you. Maybe your brightest moment is still ahead. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. As the evening continued, one final realization brought everything together. The family members recognized that every conversation about you eventually led to the same destination. Hope. Not fear. Not doubt. Not uncertainty. Hope. Whenever your name entered the discussion, people naturally began talking about possibilities. They began talking about growth. They began talking about potential. They began talking about what could be achieved. That was the unexpected discovery hidden inside the family conversation. And it was powerful. Because it revealed something that had been there all along. The people around you see more strength in you than you realize. More potential than you realize. More possibility than you realize. And when that truth finally became clear, nobody could stop thinking about it. The gathering eventually ended. The conversations slowly faded. People returned to their homes. But one thing remained. The realization. The unexpected realization. The realization that your story is affecting people in ways you cannot fully see. And the feeling that something meaningful may be much closer than it appears. But what happened after that family conversation made everything even more surprising. Because a discovery was about to emerge that nobody could have anticipated. And that discovery changes the entire story. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The next chapter reveals what happened after the conversation ended, and why everyone kept talking about you long after the gathering was over. A quiet truth began to reveal itself after the family gathering ended. The conversations were over. The chairs were empty. The voices had faded. Yet something unusual happened. Nobody stopped thinking about you. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Hours after the gathering, people found themselves remembering parts of the discussion. They replayed the stories in their minds. They thought about the moments that had been shared. They thought about the memories that had resurfaced. And then one person noticed something remarkable. Every story told about you carried the same hidden message. Not one story focused on what you owned. Not one story focused on status. Not one story focused on temporary achievements. Instead, every story focused on the value you brought into people's lives. When that realization appeared, everything suddenly made sense. The family conversation had uncovered something unexpected. Your influence was never based on what you had. It was based on who you are. That discovery stayed with everyone. And perhaps it is staying with you right now. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The next day, another conversation began. This time it was smaller. Only a few people were present. Yet something extraordinary happened. Your name appeared again. Nobody planned it. Nobody forced it. It simply happened. And when it did, one person asked a question that changed the direction of the discussion completely. What if this person's greatest strength is something they haven't fully recognized yet? The room became quiet. The question was powerful. Because everyone suddenly realized there might be more to your story than even they understood. One by one, they began sharing their thoughts. Some believed your strength was your determination. Others believed it was your patience. Others pointed to your ability to remain hopeful when situations became uncertain. But then an older voice spoke. A voice filled with wisdom. A voice that had observed many people throughout life. And the words that followed left everyone speechless. The voice said, I think this person's greatest strength is their ability to keep becoming better without becoming someone else. The room fell silent. Because nobody had ever described it that way before. You see, many people change in order to fit in. Many people change because of pressure. Many people change because they want approval. But according to this observation, your growth has come from remaining authentic while continuing to evolve. That realization carried tremendous meaning. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the discussion continued, another surprising discovery emerged. The people talking about you began comparing memories. Different years. Different situations. Different experiences. Yet every comparison led to the same conclusion. Your story has been moving forward even during moments when you thought nothing was happening. Think about that carefully. Some seasons feel quiet. Some seasons feel slow. Some seasons feel ordinary. Yet sometimes those are the exact seasons where the most important growth occurs. And according to the people who were discussing you, they had witnessed that growth clearly. Even when you could not. Even when you doubted yourself. Even when progress seemed invisible. Others were noticing. Others were paying attention. Others were seeing a version of you that was becoming stronger with every chapter. That realization changed the entire atmosphere. Because suddenly everyone understood something important. You are not standing still. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. Your journey is moving forward. Perhaps more than you realize. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came the moment nobody expected. A family member shared a memory that had never been mentioned before. A memory that had been quietly carried for years. It involved a simple interaction. A short conversation. A moment that seemed insignificant at the time. Yet that moment had stayed in their heart all these years. Why? Because something you said had changed the way they viewed themselves. You never intended to create such an impact. You were simply being yourself. Yet those few words became unforgettable. When the story ended, nobody spoke for several seconds. Because everyone recognized the deeper meaning. The most powerful things you have done may not be the things you remember most. Sometimes the moments that change lives seem ordinary when they happen. Only later do people realize how meaningful they truly were. And according to this conversation, your story contains more of those moments than you know. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Then a fascinating question appeared. What would happen if this person could see themselves the way other people see them? The room instantly became thoughtful. Because nobody had an easy answer. How different would your perspective be? How different would your confidence be? How different would your expectations become? The discussion grew deeper. And eventually someone shared a powerful insight. They said, maybe the next chapter begins when they finally understand their own value. Those words remained in the room long after they were spoken. Because everyone felt the truth behind them. Perhaps there are strengths within you that deserve greater recognition. Perhaps there are opportunities approaching that require greater confidence. Perhaps there are possibilities waiting for you to believe in them. And maybe that is why this entire conversation happened. Maybe it was never only about the past. Maybe it was preparing everyone for what comes next. Because something surprising was beginning to emerge. A feeling. A realization. A sense that your story was approaching an important turning point. Nobody knew the details. Nobody knew the exact timing. Yet the feeling was impossible to ignore. It continued growing stronger. And stronger. And stronger. Until eventually everyone noticed it. The sense that something meaningful was getting closer. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the evening discussions finally came to an end, one last statement was made. A statement so simple that it almost went unnoticed. Yet it carried enormous significance. Someone quietly said, "The most unexpected thing we discovered is that this person means more to people than they realize." No dramatic speech followed. No grand announcement followed. Just silence. A meaningful silence. Because everyone knew those words were true. And that realization became the final discovery of the conversation. Not success. Not recognition. Not achievement. Connection. Impact. Meaning. Those were the things people remembered most. But the story is not over. Because after these conversations ended, something happened that nobody anticipated. A new piece of information appeared. A revelation connected directly to everything that had been discussed. And when it surfaced, it transformed the entire meaning of the story. What happened next left everyone amazed. And that is exactly where the next chapter begins. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you.